POV. You wake up as Indians from the Shawnee tribe in 1754. You're allied with the French. Their demand for your fur has proved to be a valuable means of commerce. You rely on them for their guns and foreign materials. They rely on you for your resources and fur. Suddenly, the British attack. The colonists' westward expansion into the Ohio River Valley directly conflicted with French claims and expansion, triggering violent clashes. These clashes brought you, the allies of the French, into the war. Desperate times lead to desperate measures. As an ally of the French, you raid colonial settlements for captives and supplies, hoping to keep your villages safe. Nights are restless, filled with distant gunfire, smoke rising from burned homes, and the heavy burden of protecting your families. You fight to retain control of your lands and for the survival of your culture. For you, the first years of the war brought both opportunity and danger. Your tribe was able to gain weapons and goods from their allies, but they also faced destruction to their villages, loss of land, and broken promises as the conflict grew larger. Power was always shifting, and your tribe had to ally with the most dominant force in the region to maintain its self-autonomy.
POV. You wake up as a Shawnee Indian in 1758. You are currently allied with the French because they were powerful diplomats, but now they are greatly decreasing in numbers and power. You are beginning to feel angry, as because of the French's loss of land and people, they are losing power, which means the alliance is now hurting you more than it is helping you. Initially, you allied with the French because they had promised you protection, but you are not being protected at all. You have had enough. Due to this, you decide to turn against the French and ally with the British instead. The British were originally your rivals who you had allied against with the French, so your decision to switch sides has been thoroughly thought out. You came up with many reasons for allying with the British. One reason you decided to ally with the British is because they have more land and power than the French, as well as more men. To make things official, the British entered the Treaty of Easton to be allied with you and a few other tribes. This treaty also prevents the British from establishing territories west of the Allegheny Mountains. This is important to you because the French were supposed to also avoid that area, but they did not. This pushed you closer to your rival tribes through displacement and caused internal conflict. That's when you decided you shouldn't be mad at your rivals because it's not their fault. It's the French's. You and your rivals' combined anger led you all to ultimately ally with the British, which is where you are now. You have very high hopes as you have only been disappointed and lied to so far. Will the British stay off the land they promised to avoid and give you the protection you hope to gain from the French? Only time will tell.
POV. You wake up as a Shawnee Indian in 1763. The French and Indian War has just concluded with the Treaty of Paris. As the sun rises over the forest, the Shawnee tribe begins another day, much like any other, yet shadowed by the aftermath of the French and Indian War. The war has ended with the Treaty of Paris, but its impact lingers, casting uncertainty over the lives of Indians. The morning air is cool, but it feels strange, filled with a sense of change. The forest, usually full of life, is now quiet, reminding you of the battles and choices of the past, as you remember and mourn all those you lost to these clashes. The French, who used to be your friends, have been forced to hand their land in North America, which includes where you reside, to the British. You worry about your future interactions all the time. The Treaty of Paris has redrawn the map, putting your land under British rule. While you hope for safety and peace, promised by the British to respect your hunting grounds, they were never trustworthy. The power balance has shifted greatly. The French are gone, and the British are in charge. You wonder if choosing to side with them was the right choice. The war's end hasn't brought peace to your heart. Instead, it has brought uncertainty. Months pass by, and the king of your British allies issues an attempt to prevent colonist expansion into your territory through the Proclamation of 1763. Yet, those pesky, greedy colonists ignore this and seize your land. Clashes seem to be the only way to interact through these tensions. The British adapt their trade policies with you, limiting your diplomatic influence and access to precious goods like guns. In response to British aggression and disrespect, you finally snap and decide to rebel. Your tribe joins the Ottawa leader Pontiac in a pan-Indian resistance movement against British occupation after hearing about his rebellion. The fighting was widespread. You raid and attack colonial settlements in the Ohio Valley and Pennsylvania region throughout your course. Through this, you regain some land, and it unites many Indian tribes for the time being, but it will eventually end in a peace treaty signed with the British. Diseases also killed many of your friends. The British forced you to assimilate, and food became scarce, making your tribe leave, often moving westward to ancestral lands, surrender to the British, or cause many of your friends to pass away. You would honor your fallen comrades every year with a death fest held by families. Your life was no longer in your hands, and you and your tribe would forever be impacted by this war.
Beneath the forest, rivers wide, two empires clashed, the nations cried. The French withdrew, their promise gone. The British pressed their rule upon. The treaties signed, the lands were lost. A heavy burden, endless cost. Trade once fair turned cold, unkind. Displacement weighed on every mind. Allies faded, trust betrayed. The native path grew dim, decayed. Yet voices rose in fierce despair to guard their homes, their land, their air.